Scanning is all about taking a moment to choose which keywords in the question you are going to scan for. And it's really worth taking that little moment to choose which keywords you're going to scan for. Sometimes you might be scanning for one word, and sometimes you might be scanning for two words next to each other. So let's have a look here at this passage, which has the subheading, Not Always Wanted. And we can see that one of our questions that we have to think about is, what is an Australian coolie used for? So we can see that we're going to actually scan for Australian coolie. So that means that we drag our finger very fast down the page looking for Australian coolie. And when we get there, we haven't really found the answer yet. We've just found that's because bear is an Australian coolie. But the question was, what is an Australian coolie used for? And so to find the answer, we actually have to read on to the next sentence. And then we learn that Australian coolies round up sheep and cows on farms. So this is a really big thing about scanning. You've got to stop and make a choice when you're looking at the question. You have to choose. Usually it's 1 to 2 words to scan for, and then you drag your finger very fast down the text. So here are these tips that I've been talking about. When you have actually found the word, sometimes you've got to read on or read back to find the answer that you need. And sometimes you might have been scanning for the word monster. And when you looked really hard, you scanned really hard for monster, you just didn't find monster. What you found was a similar word to monster, which is beast. And sometimes maybe you were scanning for the word invent, but you don't find that word, you actually find a similar word designed. So it's important to make that choice in every question as to whether you can scan to find a word. But sometimes we've got the W questions like when, where, and who. And when we've got those questions, we're not really going to scan the page looking for the word when. If we've got a W question and it says when did it happen, we're actually going to scan for a time, like, the year it was in or how many years ago. And if we're asked who, we're not going to drag our finger down looking for the word who. We're actually going to look for somebody's name. So that's an important tip with scanning, to look at those W questions. If you're asked where, you're going to look for a place. So if you want to become a scanning expert, what you can do is use the amazing school magazine, which is just so practical for primary school students. And what you can do is you can select keywords in a question to scan for. And then you can read the article or the story in the school magazine, and you can then highlight the words that you've been looking for. And then in order to find your answer, you could read back or you could read on to find the answer. And so scanning practice is going to make you amazingly skillful at answering NAPLAN questions.